As you know, Salt Lake City is very prioritized and focused on providing clean and safe drinking water for not only our residents, but everyone in the system that we serve. And it is absolutely one of our most important responsibilities. It's an obligation that our team takes very seriously, and they monitor it closely. And it's a job that's been complicated by the drought conditions that we face. In 2020, Utah recorded its driest year ever, and its 7th hottest year on record. Most of Salt Lake County is currently under exceptional drought conditions, and the United States Department of Agriculture's National Drought Monitor anticipates that these conditions may continue through the end of May or longer. Our public utility professionals have been monitoring our snowpack and the stream flow and the soil moisture conditions, and the data collected indicates that it's prudent for Salt Lake City to be proactive and activate Stage 1, which is the advisory stage of the city's water shortage contingency plan. This morning, I'm declaring a Stage 1 advisory for water conservation in Salt Lake City. By activating this first stage of the plan, we can begin to spread the word on what's happening locally and the potential of experiencing a water shortage in the future. We want to invite and encourage everyone in Salt Lake City, including our residents and businesses, along with all the municipalities that we serve, to look to ways to reduce their water use, increase your water use efficiency, and eliminate any waste water. We can prevent serious shortages of water for the rest of the year by planning and preparing well now. That's why this is so important today. And we've shown over the past year that we're a community that cares and can forge ahead stronger and better when we work together. That's how we anticipate to address this need today and in the weeks and months to come. Laura Briefer will speak now, and then we'd be happy to answer some questions afterward.
Good morning. I'm Laura Briefer. I'm the Director of Salt Lake City Public Utilities Department. And thank you, Mayor Mendenhall, for your support and for supporting our scientific data and being proactive in addressing a possible water shortage in the coming months. Likewise, I'd like to thank our City Council members for their continued concern and support with respect to all of our water stewardship efforts. I'd like to also mention that our Water Conservation Manager, Stephanie Dewar, is here with us, as well as our Water Resources Manager, Tamara Prue. Both of them are instrumental in helping us determine and monitor conditions related to drought and water supply. As you may know, Salt Lake City Department of Public Utilities provides water to more than 360,000 residents in Salt Lake City and across the East Bench. We are the water provider to great portions of Mill Creek City, Cottonwood Heights, Holiday, and smaller portions of Murray, Midvale, and South Salt Lake. We take our job very seriously in providing water 24 hours, 7 days a week. It is essential for the protection of public health, and it is also essential for a prosperous Salt Lake Valley. That 24/7 delivery can only happen, though, through meticulous and long-term planning and through vigilant protection of our water resources. Nearly 60% of our water supply comes from the local canyon streams in the Wasatch. That includes Little Cottonwood, Big Cottonwood, Parley's Canyon, and City Creek Canyon. Due to the combination of a low snowpack this year, the dry soils caused by persistent drought, we are anticipating our stream flows to be well below normal. Thankfully, we have many, many decades of planning behind us so that we can plan and provide water during these dry years. It's not new for us to be in a drought year, but it is important that we take the conditions seriously. The weather and climate indicators that Mayor Mendenhall mentioned require us to take early steps to address a potential water shortage. The 5-stage water contingency plan allows us to meet water shortages in a gradual way, and it's especially important today to stress that stage 1 is a voluntary and educational step. As spring and summer evolve, I will consult regularly with all of our monitoring data, continue to look at both water supplies and water demand to see how we're doing. I will also meet regularly with the mayor and our city council to determine if we need more stringent stages of our water contingency plan. Also, as has been mentioned previously, our fire department, our public services department of the city, and other city employees are committed to principles of stage 1 conservation as well. Residents, businesses, and institutions in our service area can do their part. We have a robust and active water conservation program, and the press release that we provided has links to a lot more information on water conservation tips and our water contingency plan. But just some easy tips for water conservation. Check indoor plumbing. Leaking faucets, shower heads, toilets, those can account for thousands of gallons of water waste every year. Turn off your water when you're brushing your teeth. Really pack your dishwasher full when you run it. When our watering season begins, look outside your home, outside of your business, outside of your institution. Check for misaligned or broken sprinkler heads in your yard or business. Also, if you have an automatic sprinkler, be sure to turn it off during a rainstorm or during a wet weather pattern. More tips for conservation can be found at www.slc.gov/utilities/conservation. And thank you very much.
Any questions? I was going to ask, when you say this first stage is voluntary, you encourage people to find ways to conserve water. Do you think encouragement is enough to turn things around, or do there need to be concrete requirements?
You can address that.
And we've done it in the past.
Yeah. Actually, we've had this experience before. We declared a stage 1 shortage in 2018, and then before that, I believe in 2013. And those times, our community really rose to the challenge, and we were able to conserve water and not have to go to more stringent phases. Our community has always been such a great partner for us in that.
Mayor, with parks and green spaces and golf courses, I know the city is a large consumer of water.
Right.
What is the city doing to take steps?
Do you want to take that, or
Yeah.
I'll mention? I'll mention that one of our biggest parks, actually our biggest park, Liberty Park, we transitioned that system onto a secondary water system. So it essentially drains part of the lake or the pond there every night to water the lawns, and the aquifer under the ground, which is not part of our drinking water system, replenishes that before sunrise. Those kind of transitions are expensive, but when we were faced with an infrastructure need at Liberty Park, it was the right time to do it several years ago. We'll continue to look for opportunities to shift onto secondary water, but you're right, by and large, the city does use that water, and Laura can speak to the conservation techniques where we are tapping into the culinary.
That's correct. And our water conservation team works very closely with our other city departments, public services and parks and golf. And there are a number of steps in which they've been collaborating with us. It ranges from irrigation system fixes so that they don't have as much leaking irrigation system, to strategic watering in terms of watching the weather. And I know that we've done some pilot projects with our golf course partners to look at low water turf, so drought resistant turf too. So we have both ongoing operational conversations with them, and we help them, and they've been great to work with. And we have some long-term plans that we're working with them as well.
You touched on it a bit already, but how do these conditions compare to years past? I mean,
Yeah.
than we're used to seeing?
It's very comparable to the 2018 and 2013 conditions where our snowpack was either low or soils were really dry or projected stream flow was low. This year I think we're a little bit more concerned just because of how dry the soils are and the forecast for persistent drought. And so we wanted to make sure and get out ahead of that early as possible to put the public on notice that conservation is really important and to start that now. It's always a good time to conserve, but for this year, it's very important for us to start doing whatever we can do to conserve water.
Mayor, I think there's a certain degree of message fatigue here because we are always told to conserve water here in Utah. What would you like people to know about the possibility of where we are now in averting an impending crisis?
Sure. We live in a desert. We all know that in the high desert circumstances here, and that there are changing weather patterns that are likely to increase the regularity of these kind of conversations, not only in Salt Lake City, but throughout the western United States. And so I think this theme of conservation is something that I encourage residents not to shut their ears to, but instead incorporate into the way that we operate day to day, whether or not we're under drought conditions or we're in a year of high precipitation. This is the way that we should operate as Westerners. And that Public Utilities on the website that Laura referred to has a lot of options, including rain barrels and the opportunity for residents to get through Public Utilities, a rain barrel collection system where you can water your flowers in your garden outside off of that precious precipitation we do get. So we're continuing to explore ways that we can enable and empower our residents to build this into your day-to-day life, no matter what these precautions are that we're taking today.
And by taking steps now, they can avoid restrictions or shut-offs possibly down the road?
You know, it's a beautiful range of mountains here that we depend on the majority of our water for. Of course, we have no control over that snowpack amount, but there is a lot of control in those day-to-day decisions when you're brushing your teeth, when you're letting that water drip in that faucet you keep meaning to fix week after week. This is the responsibility, I think, that we have as Westerners to protect those resources. Anything else? Thanks, everybody.